Okay, so what if the US strategy towards Iran right now isn't just a reaction to what's happening today? What if it's actually the final move in a game plan that was put on the board 40 years ago? Today, we're going to break down an argument that says everything we're seeing, from military moves to diplomatic talks, all comes from one single, consistent, and honestly pretty provocative idea. And this is it. This statement, made by Donald Trump way back in 1987, is the key to the whole thing, according to the source we're looking at. The idea is simple. You hit us, we take your oil. It's a bold concept for sure, and it's the one thread that we're going to see ties this entire strategy together. So the big question is, how does a controversial, off-the-cuff remark from the 80s morph into a real-world geopolitical strategy today? Well, the perspective we're diving into claims this was never just some random comment. Nope, it was the blueprint for what's unfolding right now as we speak. So what gives this idea so much staying power? Well, according to our source, it all comes down to one thing: remarkable consistency. This isn't a policy that's changed with the political winds. It's a conviction that has stayed exactly the same for decades. The analysts in our source material really lean into this point. They highlight that it wasn't just a one-off thing in 1987. They point out that Trump was also talking about taking Kharg Island, that's one of Iran's biggest oil terminals, all the way back in 1982. This long-game consistency is framed as absolutely essential to understanding what's going on. Okay, so the idea has been consistent for 40 years. We get it. But how does an idea, even a long-held one, actually turn into action on the ground? Let's dig into how our source connects the dots between those old words and today's military chess moves. The source points to specific military positioning as, tangible proof. It argues this isn't the kind of buildup you'd see for a massive invasion. Not at all. This is a specialized force, a surgical tool, ready to execute a very, very precise plan. And the key here is really the type of force being described. Our source says the firepower and manpower are absolutely in place, but not for some long, drawn-out war. It's for a limited, targeted action, something that looks totally different from the conflicts we've seen in the recent past. And this distinction? It's absolutely crucial. The strategy, our source argues, is specifically designed to not be a repeat of Iraq or Afghanistan. It's like they threw out the old playbook. This new one avoids those massive ground wars and completely sidesteps the whole messy business of nation building. And to back this up, the source brings up comments from former top military brass, like retired General Frank McKenzie. It points to his appearance on Face the Nation and suggests that his take was, essentially, that this plan is way further along and much closer to the finish line than most of us realize. So where is all this heading? Well, it all leads to what the source calls the end game, a multi-step strategy that's not just about a single action, but about totally reshaping America's role in the entire region. So what's the actual ultimate goal here? According to this analysis, it's not what you might think. It's not about permanent occupation or trying to control the region. It's about forcing a fundamental shift in who's responsible for security, which would then, finally, clear the way for an American exit. The source breaks this whole endgame down into 4 pretty clear steps. First up, execute those limited military goals we talked about. Second, start pressuring the regional allies to pay for their own security. Third, you strengthen local alliances. Think frameworks like the Abraham Accords, which help Israel and Arab nations work together so they can manage the region themselves. And the final ultimate step, the U.S. disengages. We're out. And a huge piece of this puzzle, as the source presents it, is all about the money. This quote just cuts right to the chase, telling the Gulf Arab nations that if they want the U.S. security umbrella, well, they're going to have to start paying for it. And that right there, that's the ultimate vision our source is describing. The whole idea is to create a region that's run by a network of local alliances, strong enough to handle their own security without America having to keep troops there forever. It's about empowering them to, as the source says, manage their own backyard. And this is where it all comes back to the very beginning. The source calls this the full circle moment of this entire 40-year plan. It's all about payback. The source material basically ends on this bombshell prediction that the whole strategy will wrap up by making that 1987 statement a reality, by seizing Iranian oil assets as direct reimbursement for the cost of any U.S. military action. So let's just step back for a second. If this whole plan is actually seen through to the end, from that first idea in 1987 all the way to the final payback, what kind of legacy would that even leave? Is it a historic victory, or is it something a lot more fragile? Well, from one angle, if this all gets pulled off, you're looking at what some might call one of the biggest foreign policy wins in U.S. history. I mean, you achieve your goals, you get your allies to foot the bill, and you finally untangle America from decades of conflict in the Middle East. But, and this is a big but, the source throws a huge wrench in that idea. It asks a really critical question. Can a legacy that's so tied to one leader actually survive after they're gone? It suggests the whole thing, no matter how successful, could be incredibly fragile. And so this is really the central question this whole explainer leaves us with. Is the strategy our source describes a permanent, game-changing shift in American foreign policy? Or is it just a temporary masterstroke that could be totally wiped away by one election, sucking America right back into the very messes it tried so hard to leave behind? That choice, it seems, has yet to be made.